pumping out these Keanu-thon reviews, and the last one for today, gonna talk about and review Dangerous Liaisons. And I don't know how much review this is gonna be because I wasn't too big on this one. Now, that's not to say that I'm not a big fan of period piece movies. I do like The Patriot of Mel Gibson, Braveheart, just to mention a couple. And there's some others out there which I'm not thinking about at the moment, and there's some which I haven't seen before. And I understand this is more of a dramatic type of film. I understand when it came out, it got a lot of high marks and it won 3 Oscars. So I'm sure there's going to be people that may not agree with this review, but it just again, it just wasn't too big on. So I'm not going to hate on the film, but I will give you a review. So the plot to the film, it's 18th century France, and you have Glenn Close's character and Valmont. I'm not going to try to pronounce their names because I know I'm going to botch them. But John Malkovich's character, they're playing this dangerous game of seduction. Valmont is someone who's measured success by the number of his conquests, and Glenn Close challenges him to seduce the soon-to-be married Cecile, played by Uma Thurman, and provide proof in the writing of his success. His reward for doing so will be to spend the night with Glenn Close's character, and he has a little difficulty seducing Cecile, but what he really wants is to seduce Michelle Pfeiffer's character. And when Glenn Close learns that he has actually fallen in love with her, she refuses to let him claim his reward for seducing Cecile. So, yeah, that's pretty much the plot of the film. Just a straightforward plot. But, like I said, again, I'm not going to hate on this film. It's just one of these films that at the end of the day, it's not my cup of tea. Again, I understand it's more dramatic. And, okay, talking about the cast, talk about some of the performances. Glenn Close is in the film. She's fine. Great actress, Fatal Attraction. Just a very capable actress. And I thought she was fine in the film. John Malkovich, his character, I thought, he was evil. He was, very good at that role, being seductive, the seductive type. And John Malkovich, I've always been a fan of, whether it be, Con Air, he was great in that. And some other films that, he was great in. And yeah, like I said, I will give him credit here because it was a good performance from John Malkovich. Michelle Pfeiffer, who plays Torvell, she's good in the film. Another great actress here. One of my favorite actresses. You also have Keanu Reeves here in a supporting role. And he's not in the film too much. He appears here and there, and then in the end. Yeah, Keanu Reeves, I don't know, like his acting here is not the greatest. I will admit that. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like whenever Keanu does a period movie, his acting is kind of like, I don't know about that. And of course, the next year he would do Bill and Ted and Off to the Races. But, yeah, Keanu Reeves, his acting here is not the greatest. You have Uma Thurman, early role for Uma Thurman. And she was good in the film. She's fine. Overall, the performances, to me, were fine. The performances, to me, weren't the problem. I thought everyone played their part well, especially, John Malkovich as a sort of, like overpowering character. And you bought into it. That, being the seductive type and sort of this overpowering character. And so the cast, do their jobs fine. The guy who directed this film, Stephen Frears, of course, he would go on to direct The Queen. Let's see here. I'm just looking at his IMDb. Dirty Pretty Things, which I've never seen. Just mention a few. He directed High Fidelity. Okay, I do like that movie. That's a good movie with John Cusack. High Fidelity. So he directed that, and I forgot. I thought he did a good job with that movie. So, yeah, a lot of his stuff I haven't seen, like, the stuff he did before this film and some of the stuff he did after. I do like, again, High Fidelity. And, lately he's been directing some TV shows, I think, like State of the Union. Currently he's directing a miniseries called Quiz, which I've never heard about. So he's currently working on that. He's still directing, so, it's pretty cool. And I know this is based on a novel. I was reading a little bit more about the film. That it's based on a novel. And as far as the production, it says right here, according to Wikipedia, it was the first English language film adaptation of the novel. The screenplay was based on Christopher Hampton's Olivier Award-winning, Tony Award-nominated theatrical adaptation for the Royal Shakespeare Company, directed by Howard Davies, featuring Lindsay Duncan, Alan Rickman, Juliet Stevenson, and the reception this film got, currently holds a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Accolades. So, I guess, is it 1989? Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so 1989, this film won 3 Oscars out of 7. It won Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Costume Design, and Best Art Direction. So it won 3 Oscars. And unfortunately, it says right here also, unsuccessful nominations were for Best Actress Glenn Close, Best Supporting Actress Michelle Pfeiffer, Best Original Score, and Academy Award for Best Picture. Director Stephen Frears and lead actor John Malkovich were not nominated. So, but it did win 3 out of 7, so that's pretty good. Glenn Close received praise for her performance. And Michelle Pfeiffer was also widely acclaimed for her portrayal. Roger Ebert, considering the trajectory of her career, wrote that in a year that has seen her in varied assignments such as Married to the Mob and Tequila Sunrise, the movie is more evidence of her versatility. She is good when she is innocent and superb when she is guilty. And I can say that's a good, good review. And Michelle Pfeiffer is a great actress. Again, she's one of my favorites. Whether if it's Batman Returns or Frankie and Johnny, that's a good one. Scarface. She's done a lot of great movies. Great actress. The box office, budget, it was $14 million. It went on to make $34.7 million. So, kind of a quiet hit, I guess you would say. But like I said, it went on to make, win these Oscars. Got a lot of accolades and high marks. But, I would say, to me, the biggest thing is the pacing. And that's probably one of the reasons why it was hard for me to get into the film. And again, I don't mind dramatic films. I don't mind, period pieces. But, for a film that's almost 2 hours and, it does get heavy in the dialogue a little bit. And again, I'm not hating on that or anything like that. So don't get a, don't get that impression. But, being an almost 2 hour film and, heavy dialogue, and it's like, you know, the film's not for me. Again, I give the film its performances. Again, Glenn Close, John Malkovich, Michelle Pfeiffer, Keanu Reeves, that I don't know. Again, it's just whenever Keanu does a period movie, it's like his acting, it's like it's not the best. Thankfully, like after this, things took off, and he would do better to me projects and films. But you still had Uma Thurman here in the early role. Again, Michelle Pfeiffer. So the cast does their job, and everyone, especially John Malkovich, does a very good job here, performance-wise. The costumes are fine. The art direction of the film, I mean, won the Oscar for that. And, you know, good production value, especially when replicating that time period. So I will give it that. So at the end of the day, again, Dangerous Liaisons, it's hard for me to review because, I'm sure, by saying that I'm not into the film much, automatically that, my opinion doesn't matter. And everyone's going to have a different opinion. For me, this film, I'll just say it wasn't for me. I don't mind. I like dramatic films and I like period piece movies, but I don't know, it just wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. Now I'm sure people are going to disagree, and that's fine. But, that's my review of Dangerous Liaison. So, thank you for watching. And next, for the Keanu-thon, I'll be reviewing Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So moving on to the Bill and Ted films. But thank you for watching, and have a good day.